Okay, I think I have this working, bro. This took so fucking long. How do you even do it? I don't like this microphone. I spent too much and it's fucking ass. They said that it's the only version where you can't just play back the video. You have to plug out the thing and then play it and then plug it back in. Anyway, this is gonna be a video. I should probably read my notes because I'm gonna forget something. This is gonna be a video on rehabbing the neck and what I do for my neck. Just some quick background. Like, I had a car crash and they gave me whiplash. Some chiros and physios were saying I had whiplash, and that car crash also dislocated my upper spine, thoracic spine, but that's for a later day. That's for the spine video. And what was it? This is just gonna be the rehab, a lot less cut and less edited and less voiced over. Like, it's just gonna be me walking through what I do. I thought that would help give a better demonstration of what to do for the rehab. And there will be another video to this, which is just explaining everything and the rehab principles I'm using, like concentric only, shorter plus longer range, which is just essentially like you're removing the eccentric as much as possible. So you're bypassing the most damaging motion and then emphasizing the motion that's more squeeze and pump like to help produce the most ideal pump for the least amount of damage. So, and rehab stimulus, and the pump's important because so there's this concept in ATG of short range and long range, and the short range and long range for the neck. Okay, so the blood's important because I know how to explain it, but I haven't figured out how to explain it well enough to you guys. So the blood flow is important because the issue with the neck is usually in the ligaments and not so much in the muscle. And like, you can have tight muscles and shit and you can strengthen them through length and alleviate them, and that's fine. But you, with the neck and the vertebrae of the neck joints, it's all held together with these discs, but on the outside there's ligaments and little intra muscles and intraspinal muscles. And the blood flow is important because if you don't bathe those ligaments in blood before you stress on them for rehab and adaptation, then they get pissed off more easily, especially if they're damaged. They're going to get way more pissed off. And what the blood does is it makes the tissues more compliant, and you're able to get, it's like warming up essentially, but in the most effective way and the least damaging way. So the most ideal way for the most amount of people. And so the blood flow makes the ligaments more compliant and pliable. It's like striking metal when it's like warm for adaptation. And it's kind of like, if you don't warm up, you're more prone, the tissue's going to be colder and stiffer and more prone to breaking, like cheese or like a rubber band. You know, if you freeze a rubber band and then you break it, it's really easy to break. But if you have it at room temperature, or if it's warmer, it's like cheese as well. It's like there's a bunch of things you can compare them to. But like with cheese, if you heat it up, it's more pliable and you can do more. But if it's colder and stiffer, it's more less compliant and it gets aggravated more easily. And so the blood just helps it to receive stimulus more comfortably with more comfort and less pain. So blood flow and warmth makes it more comfortable. And I really need I found my phone. Holy shit. Okay, so I'm just going to read out the notes that I had listed. So pretty much most people will, like 1.5 kg, or liters, kg, same fucking thing, will be plenty for, because you want, so what we're trying to do is, with the shorter range, so I'll show you a demonstration of a shorter range, but that leans on the ligaments less, and it emphasizes more the vascular tissue, and the long range stuff leans on the ligaments more, but you want to bring a pump to them beforehand rather than just like leaning on them cold. So the short range for the neck, essentially, like if these were the flexor muscles, this would be short range. So this would be long range. Right. It's ideal to do this laying down because it's a less, it's a more advantageous angle for the neck joints. So this would be like this range of motion here would be shorter range, mid range, vascular range, muscular range, same shit. But yeah. Anyway, this is just this probably isn't the video for the explanation, but essentially you bring a pump to the shorter range where it stresses the ligaments and connective tissue less, and then you increase the range. For me, my issue is on the side of the neck. I had a mainly major one on this side, and then there's a previous video about all of this, so I'll probably just skip the fucking introduction. Yeah, you want to make sure, just one mistake you can do is you can make the mistake of not getting a good enough pump. So you can go too light on the short range blood flow stuff before getting into the long range stuff where the ligament adaptation occurs for the connective tissue in the neck. Where the issue is really that those ligaments are underdeveloped, and we all know how to train muscles and shit, but all our ligaments are underdeveloped. And so for the spine, like, there's long range, just short range and long range everywhere across the entire body. And the short range for the front of the knee is backwards walking, or concentric only backwards walking. The long range for the knee is, for the front of the knee, is a full knee bend or split squat. Or for the tricep, short range would be like that, and then long range, it's where it's under more stretch. And the longer range being under more stretch also requires more of the insertions, so the tendon insertions, so it emphasizes them more. So that's how you can stress them and like emphasize them more for development. Because if you're only training in short range your whole life, like a lot of people do, with conventional gyms and not knowing this stuff, then you manufacture a lot of injuries because you supercharge your engine with a neurological muscular engine, but all your joints are weak as shit, and the ligaments and connective tissues will hold these joints together. So like for the knee, for example. And so you want to, well, no one should be neglecting training these ligaments and connective tissues, because it's just not how your body was meant to be, ideally, as it could be. And so for the short and long range for the neck it's the same for the spine. So for the spine, if you're on a back extension, the short range is this like muscular range right here. And that's where you emphasize more the musculature and get the pump and the vascular, because the muscle has the vascular tissue, which has more of the blood. So you get the blood from the vascular range, the muscular range first, then you gradually increase the range, and it pushes the blood deeper and deeper down that, this is my take on it, my very nuanced take on it, but it pushes the blood deeper into the insertion, and then once the insertion's bathed in blood, then it's more compliant. So, because you don't want to just go short range and then super long range straight away. You want to go incrementally with rehab. You want to short range, mid range, or just mid range, short range. I call it shorter range, mid and short range. I think that's just more simpler. I haven't found too much benefit from starting from super short range. Mid range is fine, or just shorter range. Just keep it simple, and then you gradually increase the range a bit, get a pump at that range and increase the range again, accumulate at that range, and then soon enough you're leaning on the ligaments and pushing blood into the ligaments and then contracting. So each squeeze is a concentric only emphasis. So yeah, remove the eccentric. That's something the system isn't doing. They're just still talking about isometrics and fucking crab walks and shit. Don't even get me started on that. So yeah, it's a new thing that's going on. It's like a rehab revolution that's going on with ATG and Athletic Truth Group. And so, yeah, if you're upset about what the fuck I do for rehab, just don't be an ignorant idiot and look into it. I'll be explaining it on this channel. But yeah. So anyway, I should probably get recording. Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't finish that explanation. The short range for the neck and spine is where the spine is less rounded. So any contraction in any direction is more less rounded. If I'm lying flat, okay, for the back, this 45-degree back extension would be vascular range. You are slightly leaning on the connective tissue, but not so much. As you round, the more you round the spine, the more you're leaning on the ligaments. And so that's how you, and no one trains Jefferson curls. Like, you know what I mean? And we all have like back issues and we all have these underdeveloped tendons and ligaments and fascia even that fascia is a topic for a whole nother day. That's, you can't see it the same way as you see tendons. It doesn't quite work like that. But it's very interesting. Yeah, if you know how to train more carefully and gradually get into these rounded positions, it's the same. If I was to summarize ATG down into, if I was to summarize ATG down and explain it in the most simplest way, knees over toes guy, there was scientific literature that said knees over toes is more risky because it puts more pressure on the knee, and that's true, but all Ben Patrick was trying to emphasize was like, that is true, but you can get there safely, and if you're strong there, you're actually more protected from injury because your ligaments, which get stressed more in that longer range, have become more developed and stronger and thicker. Yes, I said thicker. There's a lot of controversy in the system like that your tendons are meant to be thin, and I understand where they're coming from because they're referring to when you really rupture a tendon that it can swell up, and that's not what I'm talking about. I know that that's there, but that's not the only way that tendons can be thicker. Tendons have anabolic properties, so they can hypertrophy like muscles, not as quick as muscles because they have a lot less blood flow and can't heal as quickly, and they take a longer time to recover, and they're a different tissue altogether. They're a lot less vascular tissue, but they can heal. And so, and yeah, to say that tendons can't grow is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard in my fucking life. I've heard multiple people, doctors, medical professionals say that, and I'm just like taken aback by just the lack of common sense. When you have a rupture, right, you have to insert the tendon and attach it back to the bone again, right? The tendon grows back onto the bone. So you can't just say that they don't grow. Of course they fucking grow. The tendons can't grow. No, they're not meant to grow. It's just, so dumb. Like, yeah, I know you have to weave a wire and insert it temporarily or whatever the fuck, but the tissue grows back onto the bone. So it's like this lack of, that's just an example of how outdated the curriculum is. It's so pathologically warped. So bad. Anyway, so you can't just round in any direction of the spine. Like, you have to be leaning on that side. Like, you can't just lie on your ground and curl up into a ball and be like, I'm rounding. Like, you can't. You have to be putting stress and contraction on that side. So like this would be short range for the neck, and you could be like, oh, this is long range, but if I was on my side, this would be short range, and then I gradually increase the range. And the shorter range just stresses the connective tissue less. So you start there as getting your pump, and then you increase the range. And anyway, I wasn't supposed to be yapping for this long, but whatever. What do I know about making content? I'm just getting excited. I hope this mic is working. I hope it's not too bad. You can make the mistake of not going too heavy. Over time, your muscle will become conditioned. Over time, your muscle will become conditioned to the weight you're using. So you may have to slightly increase the weight with, I have a jug, like a bigger jug, and I just fill it up with whatever weight I'm at for the neck. And I don't like using a thin weight, like a little plate or something, because something about the water and the mass of it makes it more rigorous and unstable, and so it's more neurologically demanding, I think, and it makes for a better pump. So that's why I use sort of bigger, more unstable objects, if that makes sense. That's just what I feel. I feel like you get the sickest pump, like rather than doing a standing bicep curl with a weight, like the cable machine, where it's like insane pump. You just remove the eccentric, or cheat it as much as possible. That's kind of the concept with rehab. You just want to cheat the eccentric as much as possible, because that motion is the more damaging motion. And if you're rehab and you have, if you've damaged a ligament or tendon, there's a lot less of that tendon. So you don't want to get your rehab in the most reckless way. You want to be very efficient and ideal with it. You don't want to be stupid and reckless and just repping shit out. You want to be wise with it. And so, I should just go sit in the fucking sun and just record this. Anyway, so I'm just going to get started with the rehab. You also might want to tinker with the jaw. It's not very important, but if you're feeling like that's going to have to do. Okay, so the way I do my neck is so the sides hurt, right? Doing lateral flexions, that hurts the most for me. So that's the direction, that's the sides that's damaged. And I before starting there, it's much more better to bring a pump to the nearby areas, and that helps stabilize the neck with a pump, and brings blood flow to the area, and helps when it helps for when I go to stress the sides. It's already kind of warm and more comfortable, rather than it being cold and then I'm just it's just a lot less achy and more comfortable. So I know, I look like a unicorn or someone else. Yeah, I forgot that this isn't really my weight anymore. Where's my... You can just get a bigger jerry can and just fill it up with water or whatever. Hitting some of the sternocleidomastoids. I don't know exactly how you say them, but you sort of give a slight twist or flexion, kind of hit them on the short range, the mid range, or the shorter range. Maybe I should just stick to short range. Oh. So now this pump is starting to build up. Oh. Time you're breathing a bit better. Definitely helps with a pump. Inhale. Just helps the contraction be a lot less. Look, I'm not even gonna make that comment. I hope my storage doesn't run out. Holy heck. But yeah, it is just hot right here on the flexions. You feel the pump. So I slightly increase the arch, and now we're starting to get into a slightly longer range. And this is going to lean on the ligaments more. So it's like marks under here, which is giving me a red head. So this more arched contraction, or this contraction from a more arched position, is long range. Now also when I'm going down with the weight, I'm just removing the eccentric. So I'm letting the weight come onto the area, the muscle in the neck. But when I go down, I'm kind of taking it off with my arms. And this is like bypassing the eccentric. I heard the way, I have my own ways of explaining things, but I heard how Bulletproof Buller said you're bypassing the eccentric, which is, I like that explanation and it's kind of sticking with me. Bro, this fucking garbage truck. Okay. So I'm gonna increase the range. So I'm just gonna how should I feel like this would be more accurate for now. Some more pillows. And we're sort of progressing it like a 45 back extension. So you don't see how we're kind of like on an incline. You don't have to necessarily. I could just remove those pillows out. But, you know, whatever's comfortable for you. Yeah, so I'm not really controlling the eccentric. I'm lifting it up slightly with my hands. I'm showing you because I lift it up just enough so that you don't see it. But, so it's like that. If you just get into the habit of removing the eccentric for all your rehab movements, then as you get stronger and stronger, you can start to use it more and more for even more adaptation. But this is for the people that are struggling to just get into it, you know what I mean? So, awesome. I should probably show you guys like a side angle of what's going on. How do I break. Okay. So just do that. Fuck it. So if you're starting, 1.5 liters or kgs would be pretty good for you, but this has about 3 liters of water, which is just, that's my start. I started here on this on 1.5, but I noticed I started to get a less effective pump. So what we're doing now is that we're starting to get more into this rounded neck position. I should maybe put, I don't want to fuck up my rehab too, so I'm probably not gonna, because you can progress range too fast to where the ligaments and the structure of the spinal column, you can progress so fast that you weren't ready and it stresses the spine more. So you have to gradually increase your range over multiple sessions, like staying at one increment for like 3 sessions is good rule of thumb. So it's not like every session you're progressing, because it's just ridiculous. And like, why? I'm trying to rehab, not, it's more of a feel thing rather than numbers and weights. Although that's important too. You want to make sure you're progressing, but the biggest mistake people make is progressing too fast. Progressing the range too fast. This is just me from a damaged neck perspective, so you might not have this. But everyone should be definitely humble about this, because you probably haven't trained it. The next day you're going to be cooked. I'm feeling increasing the range, so I'm gonna, because the contraction, I don't know, you can tell it'll feel like it's itching for more range, if that makes sense. Calm in the storm. How do I look? Maybe I should put these on that side. Ugh. My bad. Flatmate's gonna be like, what is that fucking noise? It's like, shut up. Joking. This room is so sensitive. Like, I wonder if I could. So this is just the first direction. For me, I just do 3 at the moment. Oh, there's so much like lactic build-up in my neck, I think. Like, it's just like so fatigued and burning. Maybe that was good enough. Oh, cooking. So while we've done that, that's gonna help us to get into the sides. And you want to do it straight away. You don't want to, like, I shouldn't even be yapping as much. That'll work. Oh, okay. I'm just gonna leave that. I'm not gonna progress much more than that. Oh. Okay, so for the neck, for the side. So this is short range. this would be like mid-range, and then this would be long range and longer. And the thing is, if you don't have a pillow, you're kind of already in this long range. So on your back, you can just lie flat because your shoulder's not there, creating that space. On the side, you want a pillow. Where the fuck is my... I'm so embarrassed. I want to fucking... I don't know where I put it. My pillow cover. I'm not insecure, you are. Well, we're back with the fucking pillowcase. So this range, so we're doing the side now. So I should just get into it. Why am I yapping? So all I'm doing is hitting the short range for each scaling. This is kind of like a nuanced crevice that you could experiment with. You could just do the side, but I like to go from the more comfortable position, which would be like this kind of kyphosis shit, and then get the pump there and then increase my thoracic extension. So I just find it helps me to kind of hit all the crannies of the neck. Still hitting side. We're still in short range. We're just kind of... I think I could rotate the spine like this rather than going back like that to hit different scalenes. The 3 scalenes on the side. Short range, probably. So what is? How's that? Okay. So, just, if I can zoom in a bit. So we're in this shorter mid-range. Oh, that is just like pumping. I like to not go as heavy into the long range. So this could be a way to progress your long range, just either stack your pillows up. How would I do this? I would do something like this. And then sort of, so it's quite similar to the back extension. You could go fully hang off the edge of a couch so that you're like more upside down to hit the vascular range, which could work. I've done it.
some reason I feel like this one's effective though, but you can try whatever variations work for you. It could work more for you. Because you're also getting that decompression, but you're also getting the decompression of the neck on the 45 back extension with the spine. So you'd also be decompressing here partly. Depends on where you do it. Or I do something like that. See how we're like, now this is going to help us to put more of an angle on the neck rather than being restricted by the padding or the pillow. So we're going to hit these ligaments, these weak as fuck ligaments. 20% power. I hope that didn't fuck up the audio. We'll see. Okay, pretty much finished with that. Maybe some. You don't want to progress range. What? You don't want to progress range too quick. I have made so many mistakes with my rehab. Fuck with that. And back to short range foot. And you don't want to have ego with it, because most people coming in, I did the same thing. It's typically a guys thing. We tend to progress too much. We can't humble ourselves to accept where we are. But a good saying I've heard that